Obviously the big banner headline is verse 1. The fool says in his heart, "There's no God." Um, and the more I think about that, I don't know about you, but when I first thought about it, I thought about like unbelievers or non-Christians or atheists. Like, man, they're fools, they're dumb. But as you kind of read this whole psalm, and especially like verse 3, all have turned away, all have become corrupt. There's no one who does good, not even one. It might remind you of the Romans passage, right? There's no one good, no one, not even one. Um, and so it's like, okay, wait a second here. It's not just the atheists. It's the Lord looks down from heaven and he sees any who seek God, right? And that's what we're trying to do at 714 is to humble ourselves and seek his face and turn from our wicked ways. And here there isn't anyone who seek God. That word stands out, seeking God. So at first my judgment against non-believers is, wow, you guys are fools. But I think God would call a fool those who don't seek God, right? Because he looks down and he doesn't see anybody seeking God, and all have turned away. So he's talking to even believers who reject God, as Suman was saying this morning. He's talking to believers too. Um, it's kind of like, I guess, sorry for the silly example, but it's like, the speed limit, right? We know the law, we know what the speed limit is. And maybe your spouse or somebody is saying you're driving a little too fast, or a friend is saying you're driving a little too fast, and your attitude is, it's okay, there's no police, there's no one's going to give me a ticket here, there's no one here. And then so basically we know the law, but we're discounting it, and we're like, there's no police out here, we're not going to get caught. And in that same attitude, it's kind of like how believers and non-believers, their attitude is towards God. It's like, yeah, there's a God in heaven, but whatever, like, not a big deal, you know. And I think that's who the psalmist is directing these words to. Um, but I love verse 5. I just caught it as Suman was sharing, and that's why I love to encourage you guys to share, because we catch things when other people share. Of course, you catch things when I'm sharing, but we catch things when other people share too. Verse 5, at least in the NIV, for God is present in the company of the righteous. And when Suman was sharing that, she can't think of not starting her day in the presence of the righteous. We're the righteous, right? um, but no, God is in the company of the righteous, and so He's present. He's present with those who seek the Lord. And I enjoy verse 6. Um, you evildoers frustrate the plans of the Lord, but the Lord is their refuge. It's kind of giving too much credit, at least in the NIV, like, that the evildoers are able to frustrate the plans of the Lord. But I love how the Message Bible says, this is their translation. Do you think you can mess with the dreams of the poor? You can't, for God makes their dreams come true. And I notice that it doesn't say that the Lord prevents um, the frustration of the plans. It doesn't prevent. And sometimes frustrating things happen in our lives, but the Lord protects. He is our refuge. And ultimately, He is the one, and I love it. You can't mess with the dreams of the poor, because God, you can't do it. God is the one that does make it come true. And so, yeah, there's so many things that people can, um, that we can receive out of this very short psalm. And once again, as you go deeper and as other people share, you can find deeper things.